Raider Nation, what's going on? This is the Raiders Report, and it's brought to you by our good friends, BetDSI. I'm your host today, Mitchell Renz. Please follow me on Twitter, at MitchellRenz365. Today's show is packed full of awesomeness with news, rumors. I got 3 players that could be likely traded. So we're going to talk about the guy who, well, you just saw there, Amari Cooper, and he's the first guy on this list. And Amari Cooper, in case you don't know, he was traded to the Dallas Cowboys. He's now in Dallas. Maybe he's going to be having beers with me here shortly. But when you're looking at the overall move, the Raiders, they did get a 2019 first-round pick. They now have 3 first-round picks. But I want to know from Raider Nation, who won the Amari Cooper trade? Type O for Oakland or type D for Dallas? The fact that Amari Cooper now is no longer on the team, what does that mean for the Raiders' wide receiver depth chart? Well, it's thin. You're looking right now there at Jordy Nelson, young at the age of 33. He's the wide receiver 1. Martavis Bryant's the wide receiver 2. Seth Roberts, who is currently dealing with an injury, is the 3. Who else are the Raiders going to throw to? Maybe a running back like Jalen Richard, who is second on the team, and receptions with 31. Jared Cook's another guy. The Raiders, they got a first-round pick. The Cowboys, they said, okay, we'll pay him $14 million for next season because it was the last season of his deal. The Cowboys needed an elite wide receiver, and they think that they got one in Amari Cooper. If they got the Amari Cooper from 2015 to 2016, that guy had over 70 catches and over 1,000 yards. I think he's pretty elite. If it's the Amari Cooper who I saw in third year and in spurts this season, I don't know if that is an elite receiver. An elite channel that you need to subscribe to is youtube.com/Raiders Report. And if you want to see special segments that I do that only people who subscribe to the Raiders Report, you have to go to youtube.com/Raiders Report. And you can see all the awesome segments that we do over there. And tell your friends, tell your family, it's a Raiders page with only diehard Raider fans. The next Raiders news bit I got for you, Marcell Ateman. He's been promoted. Why? Because Amari Cooper is shipped off to the Cowboys, and the Raiders need wide receiver help. Ateman, if you guys have watched my Raiders show, is a guy who I talked about a lot in the offseason. Somebody who I liked a lot coming out of Oklahoma State. He was actually one of the guys who I said could potentially break out down the road. Now, I say that because he played well in the 4th preseason game. He actually led the Raiders in catches in the 4th preseason game and 3rd preseason game. During the preseason, though, he was waived just simply because I don't think there was enough room when you're talking about them adding Martavis Bryant. Adding Jordy Nelson, there just wasn't enough room for the rookie, who is 24, who is a big red zone target. 446 catches, 13 touchdowns at his time at OK State. Maybe he can bring some of that red zone presence and help out a guy like Derek Carr, who I think we can all agree needs some help in the red zone. The next news bit coming up here is Matt McCrane, the kicker. He's been cut, he's been released, and he is no longer an Oakland Raider. 5-9 on field goals. He had a long of 44. He was perfect on extra points. That matters, right? The Raiders, they went out and they signed Daniel Carlson. If you don't know who Daniel Carlson is, he was a 5th-round pick by the Vikings from the Auburn Tigers. Carlson's going to get his chance now for redemption with the Raiders. And the reason why Carlson was let go was because in week 2 for the Vikings, he was really bad. He missed 3 field goals, and after the game, Pat Shermer was like, why did we cut him? The dude missed 3 field goals. Hopefully, Carlson could be better. Pinero's going to be coming back in week 9 from an injury, so maybe Carlson's not a long-term option, but maybe he's at least a short-term option. Raider Nation, I want to say thank you so much for tuning into the Raiders Report. My name is Mitchell Renz. Please follow me on Twitter, at MitchellRenz365. If you're new to the show, you need to understand my Raider rumor scale. 0 Chucky heads, tuck rule, tuck that. This rumor, not going to happen. 1 Chucky head is a small shred of truth. I like to think 25% chance of happening. 2 Chucky heads, people are talking, 50-50. 3 Chucky heads, pretty likely. This rumor, 75% chance going to happen. 4 Chucky heads, believe it, baby. 100% this rumor is going to happen. The first rumor on the board, are the Raiders going to cut Derek Carr in 2019? Juicy, right? I'm going to give this one 2 Chucky heads. People are talking. And who's talking? Me, Mitchell. The Raiders would save $15 million by cutting Carr next season. That is a huge chunk of change for a team who is in currently rebuild mode. They could use that money to build a lot of pieces and get a lot of pieces. When I ultimately look at Derek Carr, I say, is this really a franchise quarterback? Before this season started, I would have said yes. I would have said this guy's dealt with a lot of offensive line issues. Or we'll say a lot of offensive line changing parts, a lot of offensive coordinators, a bunch of different head coaches. He's been throwing a lot of things at his way. But now I'm watching Derek Carr last year, and I'm watching Derek Carr this year. And he's kind of like a toy that seems broken that I can't really take back to the store. And when you look at Derek Carr's last 21 games, I think that speaks volumes. Sure, the completion percentage is 65.6, but that's what happens when you don't throw the ball 5 yards downfield. Sure, he's got 5,279 yards. Yards are great, but if you're not putting the ball in the end zone, I don't want to pay you that much money. 29 touchdowns, 21 interceptions. That is way too many interceptions for a guy getting paid top 3 money this year in 2018. So, I want to know from you, should the Raiders cut Derek Carr in 2019? Give me a heart for yes or a thumbs up for no. I've been hearing a lot of rumors going on with what they're going to do with Derek Carr. So should the Raiders cut Derek Carr in 2019? Give me a heart for yes or a like for no. Do you want free tickets to any Raiders game? Or maybe an NFL game of your choosing? Because the Raiders, well, they're not playing so well. Type the word tickets in the comments below to be entered in our NFL ticket giveaway. Nothing in life is free, but our friends at BetDSI have hooked us up with NFL tickets, so you will have a few steps in order to win our NFL ticket giveaway. Remember, type tickets to be entered below. The next rumor on the board is Khalil OSEMELE active for Week 8. I'm going to give this one 3 Chucky heads pretty likely. He was dealing with a knee injury, and he was a shock inactive for Week 6. And he's already been stated that he's going to play Week 8. So, Mitch, why is it only 3 Chucky heads? Well, Raider Nation, the Raiders, they can't win a game, and they can't even get their injury report right. They screwed up the injury report in Week 6, which is why OSEMELE didn't even end up playing. The Raiders were charged $20,000 because somebody can't write that OSEMELE was going to play. That's a joke. That's why I gave it 3 Chucky heads. That's why OSEMELE active Week 8 is only 3 Chucky heads. I think he's going to end up playing, though. He's already come out and said he's going to end up playing. The next Raider rumor coming up here on the board. Eddie, is he going to be playing Week 8? We're going to pump the brakes on that one. I'm only going to give that one Chucky head, small shred of truth. He is still currently on the Raiders PUP list, but he did resume practice on Monday. The fact that he was able to resume practice on Monday gives me at least a little bit of hope. But if there's one thing I've known from covering the Raiders, it's you really can't rely on Eddie Vanderdoes. You really can't do it. He does have a 3-week window to be activated to play. Obviously, the Raiders need as much help as they possibly can get on defense, adding him for the depth perspective, and letting guys like Mo Hurst and Arden Key stay fresh. Even Bruce Irvin stay fresh is a huge help. So hopefully, Eddie can get in the starting lineup Week 8. If you guys think that I look good, there's a reason. It's because my clothes are brought to you by Mizzen & Main, and they provide all the clothing here at Chat Sports. So, if you want to look good as me, you're going to go to www.comfortable.af. And why, Mitch, is it comfortable.af? Because these shirts are indeed comfortable as F. You will not find a better dress shirt out there, I promise you. The next Raider rumor coming up here on the board is Lynch. And is Marshawn Lynch going to be out for the entire season? I'm going to give this one 3 Chucky heads, and I'm going to say it's pretty likely. So, what's going on with Marshawn Lynch? He's dealing with a groin injury, and he's already been placed on the IR. The fact that he's been placed on the IR, this means that he's not allowed to return until Week 16 at the absolute earliest. So, Mitch, Week 16, he should be able to come back, right? Let me ask you something. If you were 32 years old on a team that really might not win a game until then, would you come back? I don't know if you would. So the fact that he was placed on the IR, the fact that the Raiders are not going to be in playoff contention, I think his season's going to be over. But this show isn't just about me. I want to know from y'all. Is Marshawn Lynch's season over? Type Y for yes or type N for no. It's really disappointing because I think Marshawn Lynch has been the most fun and entertaining Raider who steps on the field every single play and just gives us that beast mode, hold my crotch mentality that I absolutely love watching. So, is Marshawn Lynch's season over? Type Y for yes or type N for no. Shout out to our sponsor of today's show, BetDSI. And if you guys love betting on NFL games, if you love betting on the Raiders, there's only one place to do it. We only recommend BetDSI. They are the #1 sports book in the world. You're going to use promo code LIVE120 for a 120% deposit bonus. What does that mean? You're going to put $100 down. They're going to give you $120 for free. So guess what, math majors? That's $220 to play with. You're going to go to chatsports.com/bet. And guess what? Promo code LIVE120. Next rumor up on the board here. Marshawn Lynch's career is over with the Raiders. This one's interesting, right? I'm going to give this one 2 Chucky heads. People are talking. Who's talking? I'm talking, and a lot of people around the NFL circle are talking about it. Lynch is very likely to retire, or could retire at least after 2018 season. He already retired once, and he's been banged up with injuries ever since coming back. Here's the kicker, though. He's not a kicker, I know. But he's not under contract in 2019 by the Oakland Raiders. And with such a heavy workload at 32 years old, maybe he just packs it up and says, you know what? I tried with the Raiders. It didn't work. Here are his career stats since coming into the league. 2,441 yards, or 2,441 carries, over 10,000 yards, and 84 touchdowns. That is a beast mode type of workload for a guy who's 32. Maybe he just says, you know what, I'm going to hang up the cleats. I'm just going to sit on my couch and eat Skittles. Which, hey, I don't really blame him either. So, will Marshawn Lynch play another game for the Oakland Raiders? I want to know from you. Type down below. Maybe he's going to play one more season. Maybe he plays one more game. Will Marshawn Lynch suit up again for the Oakland Raiders? Please comment below. The next rumor I have for you, and it's my last one of my Raiders rumor segment, are the Raiders going to go with a running back by committee? Why would the Raiders go with a running back by committee? Well, if you didn't watch my last two segments, it's because Marshawn Lynch is probably going to be out for the year. So I'm going to give this one 4 Chucky heads. Believe it, baby. The fact that Lynch is likely out, this is the report, though. The coaches already came out and said that they are more likely going to go with a running back by committee. Why is that? Doug Martin, he's going to handle the first few downs, and then I think the Raiders coaching staff is going to be like, man, this guy's not really all that good. Maybe we should look at other guys. Maybe we should look at a guy like Jalen Richard. Please look at a guy like Jalen Richard because I think he fits the offense so much better. They did say Jalen Richard and DeAndre Washington, they're going to split time between second and third down. Okay. If any of you watch any football games all year, you're going to tell me Jalen Richard has been the best running back in this Raiders backfield. Can we agree? Yeah, I think we can all agree. Here's the Raiders depth chart as it looks right now. Yes, Doug Martin is the RB1, but that muscle hamster is, well, he needs to start going to the gym. Jalen Richard, 31 catches, second on the team, only behind Jared Cook with 32. And DeAndre Washington is worth as much as George Washington $1 bill. Yeah, it's a shitty pun. Guess what? We're 1-5. That's the stuff you're going to get. But I want to know from you, which running back should lead the Raiders backfield in touches? We'll say for week 8 and going forward. So type N for Martin, type R for Richard, or type W for Washington. Which running back should lead the Raiders backfield in touches rest of the season? I want to know from y'all. Raider Nation, thank you so much for tuning into the Raiders Report. My name is Mitchell Renz. Please follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and if you think I do an okay job, Venmo me at MitchellRenz365. If you guys want to watch more shows, go to youtube.com/Raiders Report. And for anybody who's new to the show, guess what? I do a nice little segment called Raider Nation Rumors right from you, and the only way that you can get on the show is by subscribing below, youtube.com/Raiders Report. The first Raider Nation rumor coming in here is an interesting one from Supa Saiyan Blue. And at first, I didn't know what the hell that meant, and then I Googled it, and it's exactly what the picture shows. Yeah, I wasn't a nerd. I had friends growing up. So, Von Miller, is he going to be coming to the Raiders before the deadline? I'm going to give this one 0 Chucky heads. Tuck rule, tuck that. Why the hell would the Raiders bring in Von Miller? I don't know if you know, but they didn't re-sign Khalil Mack. So why would we bring in a player with the exact same position? Sure, he didn't make as much as Khalil Mack did. 6 years, $114 million is way more than what Jon Gruden's going to want to pay a guy, especially because they're in rebuild mode. So the fact that Von Miller coming to the Raiders, man, I appreciate you giving me that rumor, but maybe going forward, we can get some better rumors because that one is just tuck rule, tuck that. The next Raider rumor I got coming up here on the board, this is a pretty good one, and there's been a lot of rumblings going around the quarterback situation. I get it. So, the next one coming in here is from Joe Garcia. Maybe brother of Jeff Garcia, I don't know. Should we start A.J. McCarron? Is it time to bench Derek Carr and start A.J. McCarron? I'm going to give this one Chucky head, small shred of truth, because I think there's about a 1% chance of that happening. Please, I encourage anybody to go back and watch some Bengals tape of A.J. McCarron. A.J. McCarron wasn't even good enough to start on the Buffalo Bills. And you want him to play quarterback for the Oakland Raiders. I get Derek Carr's been struggling. I get it. It's not as bad as what you're going to get with A.J. McCarron. So tell me why. I want to know why you think that A.J. McCarron should start at quarterback. I'll give you a reason why. He can't. He shouldn't. That's my reason. He shouldn't. So I want to know from you, tell me why the Raiders should start A.J. McCarron, because personally, I can't think of a freaking reason. The next Raider rumor from Raider Nation, maybe my favorite one, and that's why I saved it for last. It's pretty controversial, I'll get that. But from Santos, is it time to cut Bruce Irvin? I'm going to give this one Chucky head, small shred of truth. And the reason why, again, it is Chucky head is because I don't think it's time to cut Bruce Irvin. Sure, he's an older player, he's got a bigger contract, and the Raiders are in rebuild mode. But cutting Bruce Irvin isn't going to help this team any further. If there's anything that we should do, it's maybe trade Bruce Irvin. Maybe get some extra picks. Heck, I don't think we can get another first-round pick for him, but, at least adding more picks to Jon Gruden's team to help that rebuild process would be definitely great. So, in terms of cutting Bruce Irvin, Chucky head, small shred of truth. Do you want free tickets to any Raiders game? Or maybe an NFL game of your choosing? Because the Raiders, well, they're not playing so well. Type the word tickets in the comments below to be entered in our NFL ticket giveaway. Nothing in life is free, but our friends at BetDSI have hooked us up with NFL tickets, so you will have a few steps in order to win our NFL ticket giveaway. Remember, type tickets to be entered below. Raider Nation, thanks for those rumors. Now I'm going to get into my next segment. 3 possible trades the Raiders could make before the deadline. Players that they could potentially send away because, I don't know, they've been sending away a lot of players. So, 3 trades the Oakland Raiders could make before the deadline. For you who do not know when the trade deadline is, it's Tuesday, October 30th at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. I'll make it easier. That's 1 p.m. Central Time. Gruden has stated that there is going to be no more trades that are going to happen. But you look at me dead in the eyes and tell me, who believes what Jon Gruden has to say at this point? I know I don't. So the fact that he's already said it doesn't quite give me the confidence. So here are 3 trades the Oakland Raiders could make before the deadline. The first guy that I think that they could potentially trade is a cornerback, Rashaan Melvin. The veteran voiced his frustrations after being benched in the loss to the Seattle Seahawks, and he's just struggled to master the techniques preferred by the Raiders' defensive coaches. Gruden responded critically to the public about Rashaan Melvin. Now, Melvin is on a 1-year deal, and he could be down on the depth chart and isn't likely part of the long-term Raiders plan due to his age. A cornerback-hungry team might want someone who has a solid, Colt in 2017. Sure, he was banged up, but he was still produced, pretty solid numbers. So maybe Rashaan Melvin could be on the way out. He is an undrafted guy from 2014 out of Northern Illinois, and for 2018, 20 tackles, 7 pass breakups, and 1 interception. Rashaan Melvin has been hit or miss, I get it, but I think it's a team who maybe needs some sort of veteran help at the cornerback position could go out and trade for Rashaan Melvin. I want to give a shout out to today's sponsor, BetDSI, for hooking us up with the best promo code on the internet. And if you don't believe me, I challenge you to find a better one. Yeah, you're not gonna. Go to chatsports.com/bet. You're gonna use promo code LIVE120 for 120% deposit bonus. You can bet on the Raiders. If you don't want to bet on the Raiders, I don't blame you. You can bet on any NFL game of your choosing. Remember, chatsports.com/bet and use that promo code LIVE120 for 120% deposit bonus. The next Raider that could potentially be traded before the deadline is Gareon Conley, a guy who was one of my breakouts, and I'm just going to say I'm sorry. I'm sorry for putting him as one of my breakouts, and a lot of you told me, and I'll give you a lot of shout-outs, yeah, Gareon Conley's not going to be a breakout, Mitch. You're an idiot. Well, he's definitely fallen out of favor in Oakland, and he didn't play a single snap in Week 6. So, what the heck are we going to do with a guy who was a 2017 first-round pick out of Ohio State? A player who, again, I will say that I actually liked coming out. He's long, he's athletic, and I actually think Gareon Conley, from an athletic standpoint, is a good cornerback. He just doesn't have it up here. He just doesn't have it up north, and the fact that he can't get it together with all that athleticism, the guy who can't stay healthy, I think it's time to just say, hey, Gareon, Gareon, my wayward son, get out of here, time to leave. The next guy who could potentially be traded before the deadline, and I think this is the most likely, it's Karl Joseph. Another first-round pick by the Oakland Raiders. This one, though, was in 2016. The Raiders have reportedly been shopping the 2016 first-round pick and been looking for a high payout for someone who is just underwhelmed since leaving West Virginia. He has a hamstring injury, but even when healthy, Joseph was the Raiders' 4th safety behind Marcus Gilchrist, Reggie Nelson, and Eric Harris. Joseph has the talent and big playability, but it's possible the Raiders will take an offer for him before the deadline. He actually, as I stated before, I think is the most likely player to be dealt. Why would somebody deal for Karl Joseph? Upside. It's the sheer upside. A guy who was compared to Earl Thomas when he was first coming out. I didn't make the comparison. It's ones that I've read on Google. If you don't believe me, Google it yourself. First round pick out of West Virginia, a guy who's only played 11 snaps for the Raiders. 11 snaps. So maybe a team's going to take a chance on Karl Joseph's sheer upside. So I want to know from you, who will the Raiders trade next? Give me a heart for Joseph. Give me a mad face for Melvin. Give me a like for Conley. Or if you don't think it's going to be anybody, give me a wow face for nobody. Me personally, I'm going to say I think they're going to end up trading Joseph. I think he's the most likely player to be traded. So tell me, Raider Nation, who will be the next Raider to be traded? If you guys love what I do here, please subscribe to youtube.com/Raiders Report. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell a random hobo down the street to go to youtube.com/Raiders Report, and please subscribe so you guys can see my new shows that I do about the Raider Nation Report. And if you want to be on the new show, guess what? You got to subscribe. youtube.com/Raiders Report. It's been a rough year. I get it. And here are the AFC West Division odds, brought to you by BetDSI. The Chiefs there are, of course, in first place at 6-1, and they have the best odds at -500. The Los Angeles Chargers there at 5-2 at +300 odds. The Denver Donkeys, well, they're 3,300 odds, plus 3,300 odds at 3-4. And the Raiders are in dead last at 1-5 with 20,000 plus 20,000 odds. What does that mean? Go right now to BetDSI and put down $10 on the Raiders. You can win $2,000. Yes, $2,000 for the Raiders. But not very likely to happen. I get it. So I put a little list together of things more likely than the Oakland Raiders winning the division. You reading the terms and conditions. How many times have you guys clicked on anything and said, oh yeah, I read the terms and conditions? Area 51 going to become open to the public. Anybody can go to Area 51. You finding a pot of gold at the end of a rainbow? Yeah, not likely. A man winning Woman of the Year. Oh wait, Caitlyn Jenner? Oh, too soon. And last and certainly not least, Brady admitting that he fumbled. Tuck rule, tuck that. I think we all know that he fumbled. So, I want to know from you guys. Name things that are more likely than the Raiders winning the AFC West. It's been a rough year. Let's have some fun anyway. And I promise you, I'm going to bring the fun the rest of the season for you guys. So, name things more likely than the Raiders winning the NFC West. I'll see them. And the best ones, I'll put on the show next week. Shout out to the BetDSI, the best sports book on the internet. And shout out to them for hooking us up with the best promo code on the internet. Use Live120 for 120% deposit bonus when you go to chatsports.com/bet. Tell Mitch sent you. I would appreciate it. Let's look at that Week 8 matchup, because if you don't want to bet on the Raiders winning the AFC West, guess what? You can still bet on the Raiders winning Week 8. They are currently 3-point underdogs to the Indianapolis Colts, who are sitting at 2-5, coming off a big win over the Bills, 37-5. This Colts offense, let's not overlook the Colts offense. They are averaging 32 points per game their last 4 weeks. With Marshawn Lynch out, with Amari Cooper gone, they are coming off a bye. But can this team really move the ball? That over-under, personally, I'm taking the under on that over-under at 49.5 in this matchup. But I want to know from you guys. Predict the score of the Colts versus the Raiders. And I got a little something extra for you. If you guys predict the exact score, $25 from me, from my back pocket. Actually, I don't even have pants on right now, but you can't tell. $25 from me, so you're going to slide in my DMs on Twitter, at MitchellRens365, and all you got to do is predict the right score. Colts versus the Raiders. The first guy who sends me the DM with the correct score, guess what? You're the one who gets $25 from me. Raider Nation, thank you so much for tuning in to the Raiders Report. My name is Mitchell Renz. Please follow me on Twitter, at MitchellRens365. I'll be back after the Raiders-Colts game, so until then, go Raiders.